Is still closed tonight with the storm damage creating new risks for anyone who might venture inside. Chris Galis is live just outside the park tonight with news about when the park might reopen and with another exclusive look at some of the more damaged areas. Chris?
Tony, park officials are telling us they're hoping to have the eastern portions of the park open by tomorrow. Western portions, including the area around the Prospect Point Cafe, they have no idea how long it's going to take to reopen some of those areas. And some of our latest aerials will show you that the latest storm damage, the damage from yesterday, seems to be more widespread. It's different than the pockets of intense damage that we saw from the December 15th and subsequent windstorms. Even still, staff are working to make sure that there is access to some areas, including the Sequoia Grill. They're working hard to make sure that that is going to be able to stay open. Also, the Fish House restaurant is still open, but the aquarium and all other park facilities are closed. The message here, please keep out. Park staff are reminding you that for your own safety, please respect the signage. Please respect the barriers that they've put up here. You'll see the big logs as you drive up. Do not come into the park. And we were very lucky because we got an exclusive tour of some of the most damaged trail areas yesterday, a powerful reminder of the vast amount of work and effort that has to go into getting this park back to its former glory. Maintenance Supervisor Eric Meager in the middle and Bill Stephen on the right, a hazard tree inspector, agreed to show me just a part of Stanley Park's vast trail system devastated by the December windstorm. So these have been closed since basically December 15th, right?
That's correct, yep. We've had everything closed, and you can see why right here, just 30 meters into the trail.
It's hard to believe, but prior to the storm, you could drive a truck down this trail. We traveled about 1 kilometer along it, and it all looks like this.
Visible for traveling through.
Right, you're going to have to get a crew in here and clear all of this out before you open the trail.
This area is an area that is one of the areas where we're doing some planning on exactly how we're going to remove these trees. And until that plan is in place, we're not going to be doing anything through this area. It's a lot of bushwhacking underneath, over top, leaning trees all throughout here, and broken snags, and very dangerous. Hard to believe this used to be a drivable pathway that our trucks could drive down.
Every few steps, Eric and Bill note the damage, constantly awed by the destructive power of nature.
I really hate to see trees like that blown apart.
Oh, right.
That cedar tree was probably a couple of centuries old. You know, an excellent specimen, quite rare to find on much of the coast these days. Just exploded as the winds hit it.
An even greater concern is the trees that are damaged but still standing. Eric and Bill's job is to assess their stability, and there are literally hundreds of them along this trail alone.
We're looking at maybe, 100 acres of wind throw, and trees adjacent to the wind throw as well. We're getting on that right away. There is a way to get through here.
On the other side of this mess, a powerful example of the random nature of the storm.
We had trees falling throughout the park, certainly on the west side, and including up at the caretaker's house at Prospect picnic area. And we had trees falling everywhere, and nothing hit the building. And here's a sign with trees falling, you can see, on all sides of it, and yet the sign sits and stands in perfect condition. So we've been very, very fortunate, considering the infrastructure damage we could have suffered through this storm. This gives you a pretty good idea of the size of this sucker, eh?
This fallen cedar tree is perhaps 500 years old by the size of it. We're talking about the arrival of Christopher Columbus era. This tree may well have been around, and it's sad to think that it's gone.
Yes, that's a big tree.
This fallen giant is one of many lying very near the cliffs above the seawall. The entire cliffside trail presents a major restoration challenge before it's ever reopened.
You can see this area was where the pathway used to go. It came right along here, right along the edge of the cliff face, and then turned back up. And as those trees failed, it peeled most of this top edge right away, and there's our fence laying down here on the steep slide slope. So there's a lot of debris removal from here before we can even consider to open up the seawall. So you can see here we've had this area signed before as danger cliff area, and I can tell you right now, if it wasn't dangerous before, it sure as heck is dangerous now.
Eric Meager and Bill Stephen and other geotechnical professionals will be contributing to a preliminary technical report that's expected around January 15th, but it'll be 6 to 8 weeks before they have any kind of idea where they're going to start with the restoration project, Tony. And we should mention, you may remember the woman that was hit by a falling tree in the park yesterday. She was saved by a passerby, thankfully, but we can't update her condition. She is in intensive care right now with head injuries and leg injuries, but we are told that she is expected to make a full recovery. That's the latest from down here. Tony, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Now, all this week we are offering you an opportunity to help with the cleanup of Stanley Park, and again tonight, Deb Hope